Today we're joined by Robin Green, one of my favorite people, Sandler trainer from Richmond, Virginia. So Robin,
Nema, look, I've seen some of your interviews and they're great, but can we just get right to the interview and kind of skip some of the funny stuff in the beginning?
yeah, so I mean, listen, I don't really know what you're referring to. I'm a serious journalist here. So why don't you just focus on what you're going to do and let me do what I'm going to do.
Okay.
So Robin, you are one of the best sales trainers I know, but I wouldn't exactly call you a people person. So how does this whole social distancing thing differ from just how you live your life?
Okay, Nema. Okay.
Hey, Robin, so during these times, what are the things you're sharing with your clients right now from a behavior, attitude, and technique perspective?
Yeah, I think, if you start with attitude, Nema, I think one of the things we're talking a lot about is the importance of the U triangle. I mean, people are quarantined, people are outside of their routines. And for Sandler clients, we know that 80% of our attitude is you, right? So it's spirit, mind, and body. And so I think right now it's important that we connect to something bigger. And one of the things that our clients have been doing, and in some cases continuing to do, in other cases just starting, are things like journaling and making sure they get their regular workouts and making sure that they try to build as much daily routine into their schedule as they can. And I think the other thing is it's really easy to be overwhelmed with bad news. You watch the White House press briefings, you watch the endless news loops on television, and I think we've all got to be able to take out the head trash, because when this head trash accumulates, it turns into scripts and beliefs that really get in our way of being successful. So I think self-care kinds of things are really, really important right now.
Hey, so Robin, I think that's great. And it's an attitude, but it's also maybe some behaviors that kind of factor into the idea of self-care and the U triangle. So what are some behaviors you may suggest to your clients to take action during this time?
Yeah, I think whether it's business or personal, it all has sort of blended together these days. And one of the things that we've got folks that are doing are really thinking about the rule of 3 and 2. And so if I start every day with 3 professional and 2 personal goals, and I can focus on those throughout the day, then you know what, I've got a pretty good chance of having a good day. And I think the other thing too is really thinking about what are the things that I can control and what are the things that I can't control. We've even gone so far as to make lists, right? Things that we used to have control over, things that we used to be able to do, they're no longer there. So if I can focus on the things that I can control and not worry about those things that are outside of my control, I can keep my mind right, which is going to allow me to execute my behaviors in a more effective way.
Robin, that's great information. And it's interesting. I loved the talk you gave at the Sandler Summit last year. You talked about kind of those routines you built for yourself. Would you mind kind of sharing a couple of those about how you're kind of running your daily routine, and maybe even how your son made fun of you a little bit for your single push-up?
Yeah, so I think it's the concept of doing a little bit a lot. I think goals sometimes can be our worst enemy, because we say, you know what, I'm going to set some goals. And typically when we do that, we set these big, hairy, audacious goals that require willpower for us to push through. And, it's fine. They're goals that look good on paper. But you know what? Willpower comes and goes. And so instead of relying on willpower, one of the things that I've tried to do is to develop habits. And when I develop habits, really I can start small. I can aim low, if you will. And so the example that you're talking about, Nema, was the idea of I wanted to do more push-ups and get in better shape and that sort of thing. And I started with 1 push-up, and then the next day I would do 1 push-up, and then the next day maybe I do 2. And see, we forget sometimes the power of time, right? So if I can build the habit and I can get in the habit of when I'm going to do the behavior and start small, I can always increase the volume. So I really take the approach of doing a little bit a lot and not relying on willpower, but really focus on building the habit.
That's great, Robin. So from a technique perspective, are there some techniques you're sharing with your clients right now?
I think more than anything else, it's just to engage with the marketplace. So look at the folks you've done business with in the past. Look at the folks in your network. Look at your circle of influence. Look at associations and places where you have relationships, and stay in touch with those people. Set daily goals on the behavior side. I want to set daily goals in terms of reaching out to these folks. And probably more important is to reach out to my clients on a regular basis. You know, my best client is someone else's best prospect. And then I think we also have to think about, how are we going to build a future pipeline? People are still buying. I may set up opportunities for now, or I may be setting up opportunities for 30, 60, 90 days out. But the biggest technique we've been focused on is just really engaging the marketplace, because we know that when things get back to normal, it's going to matter what we did during this time.
If you could spend the day with any person, living or dead, who would that person be?
Wow, that's a really good question, Nema. I think I would have to say my father. My father passed away in 1999. And you know what? I think about him almost every day. He was a coal miner. He had an eighth grade education. And he was a guy that really just taught me the value of hard work. He always said that if someone's going to pay you for a day's work, then son, you should give them a day's work. And, you know, I think about some of the challenges we may have, and certainly that I've had just as a human being, but running a small business, and particularly in times like this, you know, I'm reminded that you know, the worst day I've ever had, the absolute worst day I've ever had in my professional career, is certainly better than the best day he ever had as a coal miner. And so I'm really thankful that I learned the work ethic and what it means to just roll your sleeves up and work hard. And I think that served me very well.
Hey, Robin, thank you so much for sharing that story with us. Thank you for being with us here today. Sandler Worldwide Shoutouts. We're going to be reaching out to Sandler trainers around the world, getting their behaviors, their attitudes, their techniques. So as Robin said, do your best to try to take care of yourself. That's self-care. Work on your behaviors to build habits, whether it's small or large, and try to technique-wise engage with the marketplace to help you be positioned now for success, as well as the future to come. Thank you so much. Good selling and good luck.